Well, it's definitely not going to be the first time, but I was wrong. What's up, guys? Today I wanted to make a little follow-up video to the one that I posted last week, my big review first impressions of Modern Warfare multiplayer. That thing absolutely banged, bro. I couldn't believe it. It got like 700k views so far. Are you serious? I didn't think that was possible on a dead Call of Duty channel. No, but seriously, all jokes aside, you guys absolutely slayed it out. The response, the support, that sort of thing, I really appreciated it. And I love that it started a big conversation down in the comments and really everywhere. I mean, it's not like this video is the one thing that brought this up. Everybody has been talking about my main point in that video that I didn't like, and that's that they removed the minimap from the game. And I wanted to kind of explore this a little bit farther, talk about it a little bit more in detail, because over the past couple of days, I was in New York City. I was filming like this really cool thing with Royal Caribbean. You guys are going to see that soon. But I was just like, I kept thinking about it, and I was watching other people's videos, and I was looking at stuff online and reading articles and everything else. And I feel like I was kind of a little bit too brash with my first review. I feel like I kind of jumped to a conclusion. I feel like I don't know, I was quick to judge it, and I still don't necessarily like it. Like, I'm gonna stand to my guns there, but I also do have some other feelings that I've discovered from it. So I literally, I was on the airplane this morning trying to find some things I wanted to talk about. I got here, I'm exhausted. We've been on our feet for like 12 hours each day the last 2 days walking around New York City. So I got home. I'm not even wearing pants right now. Like, I'm in my boxers. I just put this t-shirt on. I'm chilling all day, but I wanted to make this video. So let's go back to where I said this. To put it simply, I'm not gonna play this game if we don't have a radar. I really don't think I will, because it was not fun. Yeah, so that was a little harsh. That, saying that I'm not gonna play the game simply because it doesn't have a mini-map is probably a bit of an exaggeration. I probably kind of jumped to that one a little bit too quickly. I've only played the game for a couple of hours, so to say that outright so, brash, that wasn't a good thing for me to say. I do want to retract that statement. I'm not gonna retract the fact that I didn't necessarily like it, because I didn't. And I definitely do think that I would prefer to have the minimap in there, but to say that I straight up won't play the game if it's not in there is totally incorrect. That is not right, and that makes no sense. Now, since the big, I'm not gonna call it a backlash, but the big, uproar of people talking about minimap versus no minimap came out, it turns out that there's actually gonna be a feature in the game during the beta and at launch that wasn't in the build that we played, and Infinity Ward never told us about this. At least I never heard it. I mean, I was paying attention and the presentation, all the info they gave us, I am 99% sure that they didn't tell us anything about this, but it turns out that there will be a feature in the game that highlights your teammates through walls in the actual play space. You can see a little bit of gameplay here. This is credit to Game Informer. I'll link their video down in the description. Please don't remove my ads on this video. But yeah, so you guys can see no, it's not a mini-map, but you can still kind of see where your teammates are through walls. So if you're in-game, that would kind of give you that spatial awareness of where your teammates are and where you need to go to find the enemies, which is a good thing. And that's the main thing that I was asking for, and I think a lot of other people are asking for, is we just want to be able to know where to go. Because sometimes I felt like a lost little puppy running in circles looking for enemies because I didn't have anything to reference in terms of the mini-map unless I was on a 3 or 4 kill streak while using personal UAV, and hardline. So yeah, that was the big thing. So I feel like that's an interesting feature. It's definitely not the same. I don't think it's the same at all. The minimap has always been such a great feature because it gives you so much information in just a quick glance. You can look up there, you can see exactly where your teammates are and which way they're facing if they're firing at somebody. You can see potentially where the enemies are if they're firing unsilenced weapons, which that's another thing. I mean, that's a potential solution that I have. If IW doesn't want us red dot chasing, just take the red dots away. I would still like to be able to see where my teammates are. So that could be a solution to this issue. And then also you can see the map, which, I mean, once you get used to the maps, it's not quite as important. But if you're, somewhat new to a map and don't know it like the back of your hand, it is nice to be able to see, oh, hey, there's a building here, there's a pathway back behind it, and kind of get a little bit of, again, that situational spatial awareness from that mini-map. So that's why it's always been so effective. That's why it's always been so good. That's why people like it so much. But I mean, on the flip side, we have become a little bit dependent on it. And I think that's what the devs are trying to get us away from a little bit. So maybe a good middle ground is this feature where you can still kind of see where your teammates are, but it doesn't give you all the information that an actual minimap does. I didn't get to play with that. They said it was bugged in the build that we played, so that's why it was not available. But, you know, I feel like if I would have known that was in the game and that was something that was coming, I don't think I would have been as harsh because I straight up didn't know that they had a feature like that. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up. Now, a second thing I wanted to bring up was a tweet from Joel Imsley. He's a studio art director at Infinity Ward and overall badass. I wish I could grow a beard like that, dude. That'd be nice. But anyway, somebody tweeted to him. He said, "Hey guys, love how the game looks, but I have a few questions. Are you open to changing the minimap situation if enough people are dissatisfied in the beta?" And he responded, "The most productive way to go about this is to let everyone play the game/beta and think for themselves. There's been enough feedback given on first impressions of viewing. It's important that feedback be based on experience and not secondhand." And that's really, really important. And that's something I wish I would have highlighted more in my video, because just because I don't necessarily like something doesn't mean that you guys don't have to like it. And it's like, you can't really get the feel for it just watching gameplay. You truly have to play it for yourself to be able to make that decision. And that's what kind of sucks, because YouTubers definitely do sway people's opinions. YouTubers definitely do stir up trouble and stir up drama and stuff like that. And that was never my intention. But I feel like all these YouTubers coming out and saying, "Oh my gosh, we hate this," definitely wasn't a good look, because the community now has this preconceived notion that, oh, hey, I don't like this because somebody else told me not to like it. So that's something I wanted to highlight and hear that, please, like, I'm glad you guys want to hear my opinion, and I like giving you guys my opinion, but also make an opinion for yourself when you actually play the game in September when the beta comes out. And it does sound like if there is feedback that matches what we've been seeing so far, something's gonna change. I mean, you can see all the devs that are on Twitter and stuff, they are very, very passionate about this. They're very hyped. In the presentation we had before we played the game, everybody was so excited. So it's really cool to see. I mean, we kind of see that every year, but it's still really cool to see. And hopefully it means that we can have quick, fast changes and reactions to what the community wants to keep this game as good as we possibly can. So overall, where do I stand now on this subject of minimap versus no minimap? Well, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. When we played at the capture event a week ago now, almost everybody I talked to absolutely despised it. They did not like it. It was either you didn't like it or it just didn't really matter to you. Nobody said that they actually enjoyed not having a minimap there. Like, everybody I talked to, and granted, most of my friends, most of the people I would talk to are long-term Call of Duty players who have been around in the series for like a decade now, so we're all used to it being that way. This is something new. Maybe it's that shock value, but like I said, almost everybody did not like it. Now, the problem is this was coming right after we got done playing 20v20 for like 40 minutes, which I told you guys was one of my worst experiences ever playing COD. I absolutely hated it. Some people liked it a fair amount, but it did not work well without knowing where your teammates were. The map is like 5 to 10 times the size of a normal Call of Duty map, so imagine being in that with 5 domination flags, spawns constantly flipping, and not knowing where your teammates are and what you can put your back to. You're just constantly running around in a circle, like I said, like a lost puppy dog. And unless you're posting up, shooting at people, you're getting shot in the back the entire time. Like, you literally couldn't rush and move around the map. So like, I feel like that was part of a bad impression of it. You know, I think no minimap is definitely a bad idea on 20v20 and 10v10, any of the bigger maps, bigger game modes. 6v6, especially once you get used to the maps a little bit more, I feel like it's not an awful thing. I still don't love it though. And then 2v2, you're fine. The maps are so small, you can use sound whoring and stuff like that. And that's another thing that I heard from people in the community. Some people are defending no minimap, and they're saying, hey, look, you know, I played hardcore forever. I don't need a minimap. I don't, you know, it adds to the realism. You can just, you know, sound horn, stuff like that. And yeah, you're kind of true there. It does definitely add to the realism. It definitely does make you rely more on your sight and your sound and make it more like real life rather than having this mystical thing on your HUD so you can know exactly where everybody is. But that also definitely slows the game down. Like, unless you are a god tier, top tier player where you know every little nook and cranny and you've got your headset cranked and you've got an insane jump drop shot and stuff like that, the average person is going to slow down immensely when they're playing. I think even the above average person, because it's just like the time to kill is so fast. If you aren't sure what's around that corner, you're going to have to peek that corner a little slower, clear that room a little slower, which again, it adds to the realism, which does sound kind of fun, but it's not the typical Call of Duty that we're used to. So that's all I was trying to say in that video, is it did not really feel like COD. It was immensely slowed down. Not immensely, but it was definitely slowed down. So that's one thing to think about. And, you know, I mean, saying that, maybe we're just truly going for something different this year. Maybe, you know, we've been asking for it for years and years and years and years now. Maybe we finally are shaking up the formula, and it's not going to feel like an old COD. Maybe it's going to be something entirely new. I mean, you guys know I play a lot of Rainbow, not as much lately, but Rainbow Six Siege is one of my favorite games ever, and that's one of the slowest shooters ever, but it's so tactical, it's so intense, it's a lot of fun. Like, I have so many crazy moments in that game, more so than I do in like a 6v6 game of domination in Call of Duty. So, I mean, maybe that's what we're going for. Maybe that's what they're trying to do, is completely mix things up. I mean, to be honest, in recent years, COD has gotten a little stale. It's gotten a little repetitive. I don't really have the desire to sit there and like grind to level 1,000 and go through all the prestiges and stuff like that. It just kind of feels like the same thing recycled every year. So this is a very blatant and obvious change. And I don't know, like I can kind of see it going both ways. And I don't want to sit on the fence, so I will say that I would prefer to have a mini-map in the game. With what I played at this event, I think it would play better with the mini-map. I think the maps would flow better. I think other people would move around more and be more confident in their gameplay. Same with myself. Like if I knew what was around me and I was more situationally aware, more so than just like trying to listen and sit in a corner and listen to enemies walking by, I think it would kind of create that slightly quicker pace that COD is known for. And I'm not talking about like the current quick pace of COD, like the crazy ADD Adderall jetpacking. I'm talking about that, like, you know, fast, action, fun, high rewarding COD gameplay that we've always loved in those boots on the ground titles in the past. I think a mini-map would help recreate that. But maybe they're going for something different. I'm not going to fault them for going something different. I think it's cool. They're pushing the boundaries. Oh man, this fell off. I just don't... I don't know that it's going to capture people's attention like it would without it. Like, Rainbow's a great game, but it's slow, and it's not for everybody. COD's a great game that was always known to be quick and high action. If we slow it down too much, are people really going to like it, or are they going to get bored and go somewhere else? I don't know. If we want a traditional COD experience, we need the mini-map. If we're really trying to mix things up and shake up the community and potentially make a great game or potentially completely ruin the franchise, then this is a bit more of a gamble. So we'll see what happens. Talking about one other negative in that last review, we were talking about like the post-launch support and the DLC and the content and stuff like that. Well, they actually had an article about that. So Joe Secott said, "We just revealed, so it's a little early to talk post-launch, but we can say that it'll be a regular distribution of content. We have a very full post-launch schedule because we want players to jump into our game and we want to keep them really busy with new content for a long time." So that right there is exactly what we want to hear. That's the best news that we've had. It's pretty much the only news we've had. We know there's not going to be a season pass, and now we've heard this. That's all we know about post-launch DLC. If they can do that, that's fantastic, and that would definitely help this game out. But we've got to see it. I'm not going to get excited until we've seen it. We've heard that before. We heard that with Black Ops 4, and what happened? We heard that with Apex Legends. And what happened? The game launched and nothing came out for the entire first season. Then we got some shitty little skins. Like, you know, I wouldn't imagine that we're going to get something that bad. Like, I definitely think we are going to get post-launch DLC. But is it going to be enough? Is it going to be quick enough? Is it going to keep our attention long enough? That's the question. If they can make that happen, then we could have a pretty good game on our hands. So we'll see. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Just wanted to kind of be fair and admit some mistakes, admit where I kind of jumped the gun a little bit. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a like if you guys did. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let's start up another cool little conversation. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out.